Good evening, everyone. This is Malcolm Peters on the 20th of August, 2017. How time flies, near the end of the month of August. And tonight's call is one of our classic GPG calls. As you come online, please introduce yourselves, your first names, and where you're calling from. For those of you who are watching this call as a recording or here for the first time, there's me. You can hear me doing echoing there. I always do this because I have to open up two separate screens so we can see the chat as well. And tonight's call is unique. It's one of these calls that really enables our teams to get some of the best information that's out there. My name is Malcolm Peters. For those of you who don't know me, I'm calling in from a place called, it's Hounslow near Heathrow in West London. And I host these calls on behalf of GPG every Sunday. The call is designed to do three things. First, it's there for established distributors, people who are members of our teams who can hear from sapphires and above in our organization. GPG's Global Partners Group, that's the organization that we represent. Second, it's important for new people who join us so they can see the fabric of training and the material that we've got, the way we can communicate with each other on these platforms worldwide. And third, most importantly, it's for brand new people who are taking a good look at our organization, GPG, but also looking at the Jeunesse Global opportunity. So as you come online, one of the things you can do is to make sure that you log into the Google account that enables the chat to be operative. And this will enable us to see what you're doing. Some ground rules, please. I don't want sideline conversations. It's extremely distracting for myself and my speakers, and also really takes the attention away and the focus away of the guests that are watching the call away from what the speakers are saying themselves. So as you come online, please introduce yourselves, your first names, where you're calling from. We have a very early adopter, as we normally do. We've got Guy calling from Israel. Fantastic, Guy. Nice to have you online. Welcome to our call. We have Nikos calling in from Athens, Greece. Welcome to our call. Peter Trapman. Hi, Peter, calling in from Rotterdam in Holland. We've got Leonardis calling in at the moment, also from Greece. Welcome to the call. As you come online, please introduce yourselves, your first names and where you're calling from. Tonight's call has got a variety of guests and across a couple of continents. Normally we have 3 or 4 continents, but today we're focusing in. I'm going to go again and again, repeat myself because people are joining us as I'm talking right now. I'm going to give you a quick glimpse into our fantastic master panel. We have a wonderful lady by the name of Andrea. She's actually in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. That's a song I've heard. Or the Virginia Mountains. It might not be the Blue Ridge ones. Calling in our special guest, and you're going to really enjoy listening to what Andrea is going to share with yourselves. We've got the fantastic Andriani, who's calling in from Cyprus today. Really one of the most, most knowledgeable trainers that we have as far as social media is concerned in GPG. She's going to be sharing with you some information about personal branding. We've got Dan, who's calling at the moment from Tennessee land, not too far away from the Jack Daniels factory. And of course, we have the wonderful Emeralds, Ian and Judy, calling in from Ontario as well. You've got yourself Malcolm Peters there, the cross between Mahatma Gandhi, the Buddha, and Marvin Hagler, calling in from the United Kingdom. And I'm going to make sure that we get the call started in about a minute's time. So as you come online, please introduce yourselves, your first names, where you're calling from. Lots of people have joined us since then. We've got a name that I cannot pronounce from Raphael from Athens, welcome to the call. Jean-Claude Solio, welcome to the call from France. We've got Margaret DeMay calling in from Holland. Welcome to the call, Margaret. We've got Maria calling in from Athens. Hi, Maria. Welcome to the call. Haralampos, welcome to the call from Athens. We've got Leah calling in from Rotterdam in Holland as well. Fantastic. As you come online, please introduce yourselves, your first names and where you're calling from. We're going to get the call started in about 30 seconds. 30 seconds before we get started. I've got so much going on in my mind right now because I'm so excited about the call. So let's get the call started in about 30 seconds. Some ground rules for those of you who are joining us. If you want to be able to chat, hi Colleen, welcome to the call from Canada. Log into Google. That enables you to open the chat window. You're welcome to make comments to say where you're from, where you're calling from. If you do have any questions, leave the questions to the end of the call so I can focus on those questions and make sure they're covered for you. Like I've pointed out, to repeat myself again, the call is a call that we have every single Sunday. 3 reasons for the call. Number 1, for distributors, existing distributors of GPG Global, enabling us to share information from sapphires and above from all areas of the world. Fantastic information. And the calls are really picking up momentum right now as far as content and availability is concerned. Secondly, for new people, people who join us, enables them to see the platform that we use to communicate ideas and information across the world. And third, most importantly, I believe, for brand new people, taking a good look at Jeunesse Global and GPG. So last couple of introductions, if I can. Debbie Inns, welcome to the call from Canada. And we've got Eleanor Christie. Oh, you're in Vegas at the moment. Eleanor is with Harold Lumpus. So let's get the call started. Now, I've got to print something out here. I want to get myself settled because, as you all know, I have a slight challenge with my eyesight. It's getting a lot better. It's good affirmation. And I'll just say to yourselves, being in the industry as many years I have, one of the challenges that we have is we have a lot of breakage in our business. You get a distributor who comes on board, they're really fired up after a demonstration, or they've been to a presentation, they've met some of the presenters, and they're fired up. And they go and buy a package, they get themselves in a mode to talk to people, and they can't wait to call people up and tell them the great news about the opportunity of the product. And this is when you get the bogeyman who arrives and they get their first no's. You get people, the pessimist, the skeptic, the moron, basically, who does everything that they can to stop this person and quell their excitement. And no is one of the challenges that we have, because the fear of rejection has stopped lots of people from achieving their goals. I was talking to Paula Pritchard, and if you remember a few weeks ago, she mentioned a great book, Go for No. And she said, we need to get this book into our organization. And she's out there at the moment. I believe she's watching today. She's in hospital, or has been in hospital over the weekend, getting a surgery. And she said, Malcolm, I've got some great news. How would you like to have the author of Go for No on your call? I nearly fell off my chair. I said, I'd love to do that. So without further ado, let me read a couple of things, if I can, to make sure I get the information in the right order for you. The word no has the power to keep many entrepreneurs from realizing their goals and dreams. In fact, it is often this alone that spells the difference between success and failure. But with the right thinking, you can turn this obstacle into your greatest asset. Andrea Waltz, my guest tonight, is the co-author of 2 books, Go for No and the brand new Go for No for Network Marketing. Along with her husband and business partner, Richard Fenton, they have made it their mission to spread the power of no. Their philosophies have been embraced by people in a wide variety of industries and businesses to rave reviews and amazing results. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and my privilege, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to the wonderful Andrea Waltz, calling in from Virginia, who's going to spend the next few moments going through some of the material that she covers in the course. I'd like you all, please, not to interrupt her when she's talking. Leave your questions towards the end. Get some paper and a pen and listen to the wonderful Andrea, who's going to share with you why Go for No is a different mindset that's going to help you to achieve success. Andrea.
Thank you so much, Malcolm. What a wonderful introduction. I so appreciate that. And I am thrilled to be talking with all of you today about my favorite word in the world, which is the word no, which sounds crazy because who could want to love the word no, right? It's so painful and horrible, and we make all these assumptions. I loved what you said in the beginning, because we all get so excited when we first join a business or we have a new opportunity, and we think everybody's going to say yes. And the reality is that they don't. And one of the things that Richard and I have done over the years is we come at this problem, I guess you could call it a problem, which is that rejection is out there. We don't sugarcoat it. We don't tell you, oh, there's no such thing as rejection. It's all in your mind. You're just making it up. No, you're not making it up. There is rejection out there. People tell you no. Oftentimes they're misinformed, they're uninformed, they're scared, they don't want to make changes, they don't want you to change. There's all these reasons why you get no. We're not going to focus on all the reasons why people tell you no. The list is endless. The excuses are endless. What we're going to focus on is shifting your mindset, because what I have found, and why I'm so passionate about this and why I love talking about the word no, is that there's probably nothing, I think, that holds people back more than fear of failure, fear of rejection, and the word no. And here's what I've learned. I want you to picture your car. And this is, we all do this, so common. You picture your car and you think about all of the skills that you've learned over your lifetime. And you can almost think of it as fuel in your gas tank, right? You learn all these great skills, you get all this great training, and it's like the fuel for your car. And you get all of this. And so you think that you should be racing off, right? You should be racing off with the fuel in your gas tank. The problem is your foot oftentimes, unbeknownst to you, is stuck on the brake. And so with Go for No, what we want to do is we want to take your foot off the brake. Oftentimes what this does is it takes all of your training, it takes all of your ability to communicate, it takes all the skills that you've learned, whether you're brand new, but listen, you've lived life, right? You understand how life works. You know how to talk to people. You know how to communicate. These are all skills that you have in your toolbox right now. Even if you joined the business yesterday, you have a lot of skills. The problem is that your foot oftentimes is on the brake. So we want to take your foot off of the brake. And I want to give you a little background as to how I discovered Go for No. Richard, my husband, really was the, I guess you could call, creator of the philosophy. He's the one who taught it to me. I thought I was a superstar salesperson, by the way. I didn't think I had a problem or a fear of the word no, and come to realize I actually had a lot of fear of the word no, because I figured I wanted people to like me. So I assumed and I interpreted that if somebody said no to me, that they didn't like me or they weren't going to like me in the future. And that was devastating to me. So I avoided hearing the word no. So Richard told me a story, and this is a story that was in the original Go for No book. And the story basically was very simple. He went to work for a menswear clothing store. His sales were horrible. The district manager showed up, and Richard ended up, he was hoping that he could impress this guy with having a fabulous sale, this district manager, whose name, by the way, was Harold. So Harold shows up, and Richard ends up having this amazing sale right in front of Harold. Harold watches the whole sale. And this customer who happened to come in this clothing store ended up buying everything that Richard showed him. I mean, the man bought, I think it was $1,100 worth of clothing. Now, this goes back many years here in America, but it was a great sale. And Richard thought that Harold would be very impressed with this fabulous sale, and he really wasn't. And so Richard was kind of annoyed. And finally, Harold said to Richard, he said, "Out of curiosity, Richard, what did that customer say no to?" And in that moment, Richard knew that that customer who came in, who bought everything that Richard showed him, hadn't said no to anything. And then Richard said, "Well, Harold, he didn't say no to anything. You watched me sell this guy all this stuff. It was a great sale, right?" And Harold said, "Yes, I did. It was a great sale. I'm just asking you, what did that customer say no to?" And Richard said, "Nothing. Everything I showed that man, he purchased." And Harold said, "Well, then how did you know he was done?" Which was the other interesting question. You see, Richard, when he got to his own mental spending limit, that was when he was done. He rang the customer up and sent him on his way. And Harold told Richard in the situation that happened so many years ago, your fear of the word no is going to kill you. But I think if you could just get over that, you could be one of the great ones. And Richard went home, and he went in that the next day. And as he likes to tell it, he failed his way to success. He didn't know if he had what it took to be successful, but he knew he had what it took to fail. He could show more products and services. He could hear no more often. And in hearing no more often, he actually would start to hear more yeses, and his sales would improve. And they did. And he eventually, after a year, became an award-winning salesperson, went into management, went into training, and then met me. And he told me this story. And I had a light bulb, and I said, exactly, I'm not going to fear the word no anymore. I'm going to show all of the products and services that are perfect for this person, and I'm going to let them decide whether they should say yes to this particular product or to whatever I'm showing this person, rather than me decide. Eventually, Richard talked me into quitting our corporate jobs, which is where we met. We launched our company. And we have spent the better part almost of 20 years talking about Go for No, but really the last 10 doing nothing but talking about this philosophy. And I am super passionate because I believe that what we do is we talk ourselves out of asking for things at every turn. We see our neighbor, we'd like to talk to them, maybe invite them over to look at a presentation. We talk ourselves out of it. Why? Because we don't want to face that rejection. We don't want to hear that no. Here's the irony. In avoiding opportunities to hear no, we avoid opportunities to get yes. And what we're left with is a mediocre or average business, not an exceptional business. And we have spoken to many, many, many companies, all different kinds of companies, Fortune 500 companies in America, every direct sales, but other companies. And I will tell you that the characteristic that the top people have, because everybody has their sales awards, right? Everybody recognizes the top salespeople. And what those people have in common is not that they sit in their office or sit in their houses and avoid hearing the word no. They go out there and they just do it because they understand that the path to yes is not in avoiding or doing everything within our power to somehow avoid situations where we can be rejected. It's going through the rejections. It's getting good at handling them. And then when you get good at handling them, here's the irony, then you actually don't experience it as often because you get so good at handling it, right? You get skilled. We don't usually give ourselves a chance. And by the way, you guys, you know, we're very good, I think, with kids, little kids, at parenting them and helping them deal with their feelings of failure, right? You have a kid get on a bike and they fall over immediately and you say, don't worry about it. That's expected. That's normal. You're going to fall off a few times, get back up and try again, right? As adults, we're not so kind at all. We actually are sometimes cruel to ourselves and say things like, you got to know, well, how could you do that? How are you going to be successful if people turn you down? Who are you fooling, right? We give ourselves all of these negative messages. So you have to be kind to yourself, especially in the beginning, to say, I'm learning, I'm going to fail. Things aren't going to go perfectly. People are going to tell me no. I'm going to have to try again. I'm going to get better at this as I work on it. Some people mistakenly think, who maybe have read Go for No, the book, that it's just about numbers game, right? You pound people and you get the numbers. I just want to make something very clear that, and it was something that somebody said in our new book, Go for No for Network Marketing. I want to give her credit. Her name was Kai. And she said, it might be a numbers game, but people aren't numbers. And I think that's very important that we understand right now that this is not just about going through the numbers and not trying to build relationships with people. Ultimately, when you're sharing your products with people and you're sharing about the opportunity, it's about solving their problems, right? People have problems that you can solve. It's about listening to what they tell you and having the courage to get a no in order to get a yes. Every yes that you've ever gotten in your whole life, no matter how simple you think it was, in that moment, you had the courage to also get a no, because it was never guaranteed that you were going to get a yes. I want to give you an example of something that's very common. And this just goes to how we've all been taught and trained to avoid rejection. We've all been taught and trained to avoid failure, to care about what other people think of us. And we don't want to look foolish and all of that. I want you to picture the difference between what I call living in a go for no world and living in a go for yes world. In a go for yes world, let's say you go to a networking meeting. Many of you probably have gone to networking events where it's people from all different kinds of businesses, and you're there to network and meet people and find out what they do, and they can find out what you do, and maybe there's a fit, right? So what happens when we go to the networking event is, let's say you go and you have 10 conversations with people and you leave that event with 10 business cards. Now I'm going to tell you what happens when you're thinking in a go for yes mindset instead of a go for no mindset. And again, this is all about building relationships. It's not just about numbers. It's about doing it in the right way and having courage. That's what this all comes down to, is the courage. So you go home and you start thinking about your conversations. You start replaying them in your head and you look at the 10 business cards, and very quickly, do you know what happens? 5 of them, you decide they're going to tell you no. Don't call those people. they're going to tell you no. You remember the conversation. It didn't go great. You didn't, maybe you didn't have a connection or whatever happened, but you decide that instead of calling on those people and starting to build a relationship, you're just going to set those aside. Those were no's. Now you're down to 5 business cards, okay? So now you start thinking about the 5. You start analyzing and you say, out of these 5, 3 of these people I think were very nice. We had a good conversation, interesting conversation, but I bet you they're just a maybe. I bet you that they're going to take work and I'm going to have to convince them, or maybe they just won't be easy. They're probably going to tell me no in the long run. So I'm just going to set those aside too. Now, out of your 10 cards, you have 2 left, right? And now you think, these people, I'm going to call these people because these people, we had a great conversation. And I bet you they're going to say yes. And maybe you call, or even worse, maybe you just talk yourself out of it because they're probably going to tell you no too. So just forget it. Maybe you do. Maybe you call them. But I want you to think about this. How do you know really who's going to say no and who's going to say yes? Are you psychic? And if you are, I say good for you. Most people are not psychic. They don't know. And oftentimes what happens is the last person in the world, the person that we think is going to absolutely say no for sure, says yes. And the person that we had the amazing conversation with that seemed like just the most excited person says no. And they seem like a different person. And we don't understand why, right? It's because people are interesting. We never know what they're going to do, right? So we have to have an open mind. The go for no mentality mindset is, I'm not going to say no for anyone. I'm just going to start a dialogue, a conversation, and see what happens. And if the person says no, if they are harsh with me or kind to me, or whatever, here's the most important thing. I made the call. I reached out. I texted them. I Facebooked them. Whatever you want, however you want to do it. But you took action with that person because you invested time at the networking meeting. And you don't want all that invested time. You want to turn that invested time into profitable time, ultimately, right? So what happens with the go for no is you have the 10 people, you reach out to all 10, and who knows what will happen. Maybe something will happen with all 10, probably not statistically, right? We know that. This is not about sugarcoating anything, but we know that there's opportunity there. So you want to try. And then you see where it leads. And maybe a couple people say, oh, I have absolutely no interest. Don't ever call me again. All right. Well, that's fine. Okay, so you got to know they're really not interested, and you won't ever call them again if that's really what they want. So no is a perfectly acceptable answer. It just as easily could have been yes. Now, the other people may be like, I don't know, kind of interested, not sure. We've all dealt with those people, right? The maybes, they're scared to change. They're scared that maybe your product may not be their solution. They don't know you. They don't trust you. And so you have all of these hurdles to overcome. And that takes time and it takes patience. And that's just, that is life. There's no, I wish I could change that. It's just life. It takes patience. Persistence takes a lot of patience. But you're not going to give up on somebody just because they're not ready to join your business today, or they're not ready to maybe try your product today. So you're just nice and you say, no problem. Well, do you mind if I check back with you in a little while, maybe a couple months, just to see if anything has changed, and then see what they say. And you can start building the relationship from there and see where it goes. And some people you may stay in touch with forever and they never change. And you can decide how you want to proceed with those people. Sometimes you have to say to people, hey, just tell me no. Just if you don't have any interest, just tell me no, it's okay. I can understand. But the thing is here, you guys, that it's really comes down to the courage and the understanding that it's not about avoiding the no's. It's about understanding that they're out there and that it's a reality of business and it's a reality of life. And if you think that successful people aren't out there failing, if you think successful people aren't out there hearing no's, they're just hearing bigger no's. I can assure you that Elon Musk just gets the most incredible no's, probably from like governments and stuff telling him, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. He's just getting really big no's, right? But he's getting no's. So everybody goes through the rejection. You have to decide, what kind of life do you want to have? And if you want a life where things get interesting, if you want more yeses in your life, you got to show up and you got to start hearing more no's. So a couple things that I want to get into as well here. One of the things that Richard and I teach, which is a really fun, interesting way to implement Go for No, is something we call setting no goals. And it has to do with the types of goals that you set. And we're all pretty good. I bet all of you watching this are very good at setting goals for the number of yeses that you want. I know I was. And we know how many yeses that we need to maybe make a certain rank. Dollar volume, right? We track all these numbers. And what setting a no goal means is setting a goal for the number of no's that you are going to hear on a given day or given week. So for example, let's say tomorrow you said, starting tomorrow for the whole week, I'm going to try to hear 10 no's or 20 no's. Now, I can't set that number for you because it depends on you. I've had people tell me that no terrified them so much that if they could get one no, that'd be 100% improvement, and they would be very happy with that. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to make it crazy, but make it challenging. And then go through and reach out to your contact list, reach out to your prospect list, the people that told you no ages ago, who you just assumed that no meant never, instead of, hey, this no often means not yet. Remember that people are slow to change. People inherently protect themselves. They fear change. Sometimes they fear success. Sometimes they might see your business and say, oh my gosh, this business looks fun, it's easy. Oh my gosh, I could be so successful. I'm terrified, right? How strange is that? And yet that's sometimes the case. In fact, in our Go for No for Network Marketing book, we actually have a couple really interesting stories in there about one lady in particular who was kind of chased actually by her neighbors who were convinced that she'd be so good, and she fought them and she didn't want to hear it. And then of course she finally went to a presentation and fell in love with the business and became one of their amazing top people because she finally saw it. She fought it for so long, and they stayed with her in a positive, friendly, caring way. They didn't text her and call her every day, but they didn't take her no to mean never. So there's a fine line. There's a fine line here, I will say. Sometimes you have to read people, right? You don't necessarily know how people are going to be, and certainly respect it if somebody says, no, that's it, I never want to hear from you again. And you can say, I'm sorry, I apologize, and you can pull your toe back to safety, right? You cross the line a little bit. Most of us, I can't even tell you, I don't think I've ever had anybody contact me who said, I'd go for no so much that people are so mad at me. Most people, we play it so safe. We play it so safe that we never cross that line because we're always too afraid. We don't want to upset anybody. So it's never about being obnoxious or aggressive. In fact, it's actually the exact opposite. In America here, and maybe around the world, we have this classic image of a used car salesman. Used car salesman, what can I do to get you in this car today? What do I have to say? What do I have to do? That's the go for yes. I'm gonna pressure you. I'm gonna squeeze you. I'm gonna make you buy this somehow. I'm gonna make this happen. And you are sitting there and you're feeling pressured, like, oh my gosh, this person isn't going to give up. They're crazy, right? And very pressure filled. So we're the exact opposite. It's exact opposite. It's not about being aggressive. We're not trying to manipulate anyone. We're not trying to be pushy. We're just having the courage to show our products and the business opportunity more than we currently do. We talk ourselves out of it constantly. We let no be never, not yet. And my big one, you guys, and write this word down. It's big. We talk about it in the Go for No for Network Marketing book a lot, because our co-author, Ray Higdon, who's spectacular as well, he talks about it as a lot. Here's the word. Are you ready? It starts with an A, and the word is assumptions. We make assumptions about what people are going to decide, what they're going to do, what they're going to spend. We do it all the time. And Richard, in the story I told you, was also guilty of this. You see, he had this great sale going. He's helping this guy buy all this clothing. He's showing this guy all this clothing. And then finally, when he hit this magical number of $1,100, he kind of ended the sale. He just took the guy up to the cash register, rang him up, and Harold was like, what did that guy say no to? And Richard's like, he didn't say no to anything, right? He bought everything. Great. Then why did you stop? Oh, why did I stop? Well, most people have a mental spending limit, right? I bet if I asked you to write down what a large volume of business for you is, what's a lot of yeses, what's a lot of meetings, what's a lot of appointments, you would have numbers for those things, right? We all have our big numbers. Oh my gosh, what if I could get X number of people to join my business in a month? Well, there's a number for that, right? Those are all of our kind of mental set limits. Nothing bad about it, just that's just how it is. That's just normal. We have our own mental set limits. And so what happens when we make assumptions is we're always downplaying and we're always deciding for someone else that they don't need, we're not going to show them about the business. We're not going to talk about the products. No, no, no. We're constantly saying no to ourselves rather than letting someone else say no to us. This is totally normal. This is, I think it's biologically wired into us to avoid rejection. It's human nature. We don't want to look pushy. We don't want to look aggressive. We don't want people to think we're not friendly. So I think to help you, if you have any of those feelings, as you work through kind of these hurdles of, okay, I'm doing it again, I'm making an assumption, right? You'll catch yourself. I'm making an assumption. I'm assuming that this person doesn't have the money to buy my product. I'm assuming this person doesn't have the time to look at my business or to attend a meeting. I'm assuming this, I'm assuming that. We make all these assumptions, right? You got to catch yourself, say, I'm doing it again. I'm making the assumptions rather than asking. So it's totally normal that you do this, and you just have to work through it. I catch myself constantly. Richard and I were joking just the other day. He said something. He said something about, I can't even remember what we wanted to do, and he said, well, we'll have to call and we'll have to ask, you know, if they want to do this or something. And I said, oh, you mean like go for no? Like here we are, the go for no people that teach this? Yes, honey. Yes, I think we should do that. It's because it's just human nature to be protective. And I believe we're biologically wired. So here's my advice as I was starting to, sorry, I got a little off track, got back on assumptions for a second because it's so important to catch yourself. A little off track on that. Focus on your mission and problem solving. Why are you showing this person the presentation? Do you know something about them? When you follow up with them, like for example, perfect assumption, you have your neighbor who has no time, not a lot of money, 2 kids, crazy lifestyle, right? And those are all the reasons in your mind why you wouldn't want to talk to them about the business. And yet maybe if they learned about the business, they could solve a lot of those problems, right? And so again, it goes back to those assumptions. So we have to just let those go and let them decide. Maybe it's true. Maybe the kids and the lifestyle and the no time and the not a lot of money are their issues. And you can try to show them how your business could change things for them. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Let them decide. Let them decide. It's really up to them. So kind of going back to our implementation, we talked about setting no goals. So set a goal for the number of no's that you're going to collect on a given day or week or month if you want, and see what happens. Make it a game, make it fun. Try for, whatever number that you think feels comfortable, and try it for a week and then see what happens, and then reevaluate and say, all right, well, I got 5 no's this week, to maybe 5 totally different random things. Maybe 2 of the 5 were you followed up with people who you hadn't talked to in a while. Maybe 3 were new prospects, totally new prospects that you just decided to call out of the blue, or you had their card or what have you. As you can see, one of the things that, and I want to be very upfront with you here, that I'm not skilled at is scripting, right? So I'm not telling you guys like, well, here's exactly, what to say, and here's the word, because you have people in your organization who are very skilled at that, who know the best practices. So I will just say this, I will say this, the worst ridiculous, screwed up presentation phone call that you actually make is better than the one that you don't, because you talk yourself out of it and you just say, I can't do it, I'm going to look like such an idiot, right? We've all been there. When Richard and I first launched our business, I had to cold call companies to hire us. I can assure you I sound like an idiot most of the time. Somehow we got hired. I don't know, because I did it enough and eventually found somebody who had a need, and you work from there, right? You start with 1. It gives you just enough confidence to go out and do it again. So, but I tell you, the as bad as you might feel that it is, or as embarrassing or awkward, or you call somebody you hadn't talked to in 6 months, and just be honest. I think honesty really goes a long way when you follow up with somebody who maybe you let drift because they said no, or they never, actually, probably they didn't even say no. Probably it was just they drifted, right? You were talking to them and all of a sudden they disappeared. Just call back and say, the truth is I'm reevaluating my business. I'm looking at everybody that I've talked to over the last year. We talked 6 months ago and I just kind of let you drift. And so that was my bad. I apologize for that. I want to see how you're doing. What's changed? Do you still, are you still looking to make money on the side? Whatever. Just be honest and try to have that dialogue. And if they contact you back, great. If they contact you and they say, no, get out of my life, great. It's okay. You're going to survive. But you did the action. That's the key. You had the courage and you did the action. And the more courage that you show, the more action that you get into, the universe will respond and it will be there for you. And you will get results. Will you become a millionaire and get oodles of results overnight? No, of course not. It takes work. It takes time and patience. But when you have the courage to just keep going and to be bad sometimes, to understand that it's okay, you can be bad, you start to get good. The more you do it, you start to build a little confidence and you say, it's not that bad. I couldn't possibly do worse with the last person I talked to. And you just do it. That's how it works. And eventually, and you have people like Malcolm mentioned in the introduction, like Paula, who's been this leader in the profession for so many years. And how does a person get to that level? You almost wonder, how is that possible? They do it one step at a time, one call at a time. They get good because they get themselves out there. They face their fear. They take the action. They understand it's all part of the process. They don't sit at home thinking, how can I do this business and not have any pain? How do I do this business and not suffer any rejection? How do I do this business and not fail? There is no business out there where you don't fail. There is none. I don't care if you're a painter, a sculptor, a writer, a person who makes candles in their basement. You're a scientist. Scientists fail all the time. You're a teacher. You fail your students. Things go wrong. Every profession fails. So there's rejection is out there. It's just part of it. So the sooner that you embrace that and go for no really is, you guys, just to kind of sum up, it's taking what is a reality It's a negative reality. I wish I could tell you there was a business out there that had no rejection, no failure. It's just smooth sailing the whole way. It's so easy. There's nothing in there about life. Life is messy. It's full of that. I wish I could tell you that. So it really is about taking a negative reality and turning it as positive as you possibly can. And that's what you can do when you have the courage to go for no. The yeses are out there. And with that, Malcolm, I turn it back to you. And thank you so much for having me, and hope that I've shared some nuggets.
Oh, my goodness me. Nuggets. I want to tell you something that you remind everybody of, and I saw that many, many years ago, is this word assume. And if you put a lot through it, if you assume anything, you always end up making an ass out of you and me. And I think that was absolutely orgasmic. How's that for a nice word? Because it really was. I just love that kind of information, because, you know, a lot of people, Andrea, have this challenge. I had one lady earlier on. I'm going to have a conversation with you after this call and stuff. It is because of what you've just said that they take it personally. They think if someone says no, they take it personally. And I love what you said about the cards. It's so true. They sit there and they're selectively looking at who they want to speak to because they're afraid of the rejection of it. And I have made so many notes. Look, and I can hardly see at the moment. I think everything you've said is absolutely fantastic. I love the idea of the attitude. And it's not a question of saying, oh, I'm going to get 5 no's today. So of course someone says, hi, Herbert, I know you're not going to be interested in what we're doing right now. I just wanted you to hear to say no because I need 5 no's. Of course you're not going to do that. You need to be able to talk to people. And like you said, you know, it's a wonderful thing you cover, because myself and all the other leaders here try and talk to people and say, don't assume anything. You know, we're not God, and we're not in the convincing business. What we can do is to lay out our wares. And I love what you've said. We're looking to find a way to deal with people's problems. We're looking to make sure they can see the solution. And we tell people all the time, who would not want to make more money in a society that's gone crazy right now, where, you know, the jobs that we had for life are no longer for life? Who would not want to look and feel better? I think the work that you've done on this call is absolutely priceless. I can't wait to send you a large barrel of tequila, and I'm going to ask Dan to send you lots and lots of Jack Daniels as well, or whatever it is that you guys do. And if you don't, I'll teach you how to do that. So I would just like to say, on behalf of everybody on this call, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to invite you back on a call like this. And look at the call today. We've got people from Brazil who've just called in now. We've got people who are calling in from South Africa, all over the world. And we want this message to go out. So we're not going to let you get away just yet. I'd like you please to share with everybody. I think your material is wonderful. I just love this kind of material because you're really down to earth. You're not a poser, as we call it, who goes around telling people to do something and you don't do it yourself. I can't stand people like that. And I think it's important that people get, you know, every ounce or every bit of information that they can from yourself and Richard. And I'd like you to share with everybody, please, your website and the name of your new book. I can see that Khan there is jumping up and down right like he is. He's not got his nappies on today, I don't believe. He's got 2 young kids. And he's just saying, another great thing, I've got the book, I've got the book. So would you like to please, Andrea, first of all, fantastic. I can't tell you. We got enough material here to regurgitate this, if that's a nice word to use, again. And I'd love to get you back on another call. I'm sure the next time we're going to have 700-800 people on the call. Would you share with everybody, please, the name of the site, also the purpose of the site, and also the new book? And I'd like everybody on this call who's watching to subscribe. Andrea.
Yes, Malcolm. Thank you. So goforno.com. And it's GOFORNO.com. And probably, and when you go, there's another link. It's goforno.com, and then there's a / and it's notivation. And all it is motivation, but with an N for notivation. So I think you have that also. And then I think this was the book that we were talking about here, the new one, which is Go for No for Network Marketing, which has Paula's story in it. And it's and people can pick that up on Amazon around the world, I believe, on Kindle, sold around the world. So that's the good news about that. And you know, people can just come to the website. We've got lots of blogs, videos they can watch. To me, it's all about the message.
It's fantastic. You know, it is refreshing, and I could be very happy. I'm sure we could sit here and talk about so many of the things that you've talked about here. But I'd really like to, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and I'd like to thank Paula for organizing for myself to get in touch with you to come on this call. You know, it's people like yourself that make a difference to a lot of people's lives, and I always believe that someone like you can inspire one person anywhere in the world to go out who gets on fire, finds their potential, and can light the fires for hundreds of thousands of people. We need more like you. Thank you very much for calling in today, Andrea, calling in from Virginia. Look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, Andrea. Real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank
wow.
you.
Whoa, right. I don't know about all of you, but I'm wow. What a call. What a call so far. And that brings me on to my next guest. And, you know, I've had people who've made comments on social media and sometimes to myself that, Malcolm, the call is over now. It's too long. You know, that tells me a lot about that person's mindset. The mindset of someone should be that we're like sponges. You know, if we're not replacing the software in our minds, because the thinking processes we have are software. If we carry on replaying Microsoft Office when it first came out, or whatever in your head that's working in your head, the like for like, in this year, nothing is changing, is because you're not changing this. I'm prepared to get as many calls, travel as many distances, go absolutely anywhere to find wonderful people. What a wonderful down-to-earth presentation, sharing with you today from her mountain cabin, coming online, some absolutely fantastic information. My next two guests are people that I know most of you in our teams know. A dynamic duo couple. I don't know which one's Batman and which one's Robin. I'm sure you can figure that out for yourselves very, very shortly. But they are emeralds in the business, and I got to meet them in a retreat that we had in the Inner Circles group, Inner Circle that we've got for GPG. I've been a bit of a bad boy. I've not been so much of the Inner Circle recently, but you know, I really got to meet them and get to know them, and I think that you are not going to find anyone better. You know, everyone's got their own characters and stuff, but this particular couple are absolutely fantastic. Emerald directors calling in from Canada, from Ontario, who are going to share with you a section that I think is crucial as the building blocks to our business, called the duplication. I'd like to introduce you both, but I'd like to introduce you all to Ian and Judy Murray calling in from Ontario.
Well, thank you, Malcolm.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Man, I took copious amounts of notes as well, and man, I love her energy, and you know, I reiterate, if you don't have the book, get the book. Phenomenal, and just love what she's done.
I just kept saying to Ian, write that down, write that one down.
And then she said, "Here, give me a piece of paper. I'm writing it." So we work as a couple here, and we do want to talk about duplication. I'm going to turn it over to Judy in a moment, but you know that we've had years of experience in this industry, and one of the things that have always been hammered into us is don't do anything that someone else can't do. That everything, you have to always be watching what you're doing. And you know, I'm so excited because last week, you know, Paula and Kathy released the new presentation, which is going to allow us to be duplicatable in that presentation field, something we haven't had for a while. And this is something that will only improve, and it's designed that even no matter what market you're in, you can custom tailor it to the products you have. So it's going to allow us to develop those leaders and be able to work depth within our business. That's the first area of duplication. The second area of duplication is training. You know, you've got to be duplicatable in training, and you know, we don't say it enough, but GPG has a secret weapon called Momentum. It's there. Take advantage of it. Make sure that when you bring someone on, they understand that we have this. No one else in Jeunesse, no one else in the network marketing industry has the quality of training that the global partners provide. So those are two major parts of the duplication triangle. The third part is recruiting duplication. And you saw today being presented one of the simplest ways of going out there, talking to people, and changing that mindset. You know, we talk about mindset a lot. Is that, you know, that between, Malcolm says that 6 inches between our ears gets into a lot of trouble. But just think about how much fun you can have by changing that mindset, just saying, let's go out and get some no's today. How many no's can we get? And like anything else, you're going to find that you're probably going to get some of those yeses in there, and it's going to throw you off. But with the recruiting area, I want to turn it over to Judy because a lot of what Andrea talked about hit home today, especially with what Judy's experienced.
Thank you, Malcolm, so much for inviting us on this call. And Andrea was just absolutely amazing. And she triggered my memory, really, as she's talking. You know, a lot of what she had to say goes back to when I first started in this industry. And I started off when our children were very small. They were toddlers. In fact, I had one in diapers and one was just getting out of diapers. And I really wanted to go out there and make money because we were really living, you know, paycheck to paycheck. And it was just important for me to go out there and contribute. And so I got involved with a direct sales company initially, and I was really struggling. And I saw these amazing people, these women driving these pink Cadillacs. And I thought, I don't care what the color of the car is, I need a car because we only had one car. And so I remember going up to my director at that time and I said, how do I get one of those? And I knew the kind of income that they were making. I said, how do I get one of those? And I was green. I had no idea what I was doing. I was so new. And she said, Judy, she said, you have to build a team and you have to help them become successful. And I said, oh, I said, okay. She said, just tell everyone about what we do, what you're doing, how great the company is, how great the product is. So I went out and I did that. And yes, I mean, you know, I related to Andrea because I was so bad. I got so many no's. And at first they were really devastating to me. And then, you know, my director said something to me. She said, Judy, she said, your why has to be stronger. It has to be powerful, more powerful than the no's. She said, just take the no's that come along. And she said, she did this one thing to me. She used, you take those no's and you flick them off your shoulder. Just flick them off your shoulder. And she said, but it doesn't matter.
We still do that today.
We still do that today. So I know I don't have a lot of time, and this subject is, I mean, my gosh, this whole subject is so important. But I have to say to all of you out there, you know, this amazing book, Go for No for Network Marketing, is so important. And I want to talk about, you know, what we do and the questions we ask when it comes to building our team and duplication. And that's one thing I learned very well that this person taught me was how to duplicate, how to go out there, recruit, but duplicate. So we've already been through, you know, the no's and approaches and what you do when you get the no's. So let me just move on a little, further. When someone does come into our business, I think it's really, really important that you let them know. I always say to a brand new person, you know, it's my job to help you see success as soon as possible. However, there are a few questions I need to ask you. You see, I don't have time to waste. I don't have time to waste with people who say yes to me, get involved, and do nothing. So these are the questions I ask to hold them accountable. And the first question is, you know, what are you looking for? I want to know, what are they looking for? I need to know, what is their why? So what are you looking for? And the second one I ask is, what type of income would you like to see come into the household within a year, by the end of the, next year, and in 2 years' time? And let them tell you. And then that third question is key for me. And this last question I ask them is so key because it will give me an idea of the type of person I'm working with. And that question is, how long are you willing to give this to make that happen? To me, that is one of the most important questions that you can ask someone. How long are you willing to give this to make that happen? And let them tell you. You see, one thing I've learned is, we all have stuff going on in our lives. There's, everyone has a story. There's, we all have families, young children. We have, aging parents. We just have stuff going on. So if someone says to me, well, Judy, you know what? I have, 2 little toddlers. I can only give it X amount of time. Okay, that's good for me. I need to know that. If you're not asking the right questions, you know, you're going to assume, like Malcolm said, assume that, you know, they have all the time in the world. So I just need to know who the type of person I am working with. I always say to them, you know, I'm here to help you see success as soon as possible. But you know, these are the questions I ask everyone. How much time, Malcolm, are you willing to give this to, you know, to make it happen after I've asked the first two questions? So, and I say it with a smile on my face, and I always let them know that I ask this question of everyone. And I do ask a fourth question, and that is, I work with people that are coachable. And I just need to know, are you coachable? And I say, again, with a smile on my face, I said, because being coachable is so key. And, you know, these are the things I'd like you to do, because we're going to help you duplicate. I'm going to show you how to duplicate your business. Because, you know, and this is getting back to, you know, go for no that Andrea talked about. I let them know right up front, because they're really excited. They're going to go out there and think everyone will see what they see. Everyone will say yes. I let them know right up front, right away, every single time. Not everyone, Joanne, will see what you see. Not everyone will get it. You're going to get a lot of no's. I tell them that every single time. You'll get a lot of no's. And one thing I would like to recommend, I recommend to everyone, are books. Is a book like Go for No for network marketers. I think it's critical that you start to educate these people, to let them know that, prepare them when they go out there to start talking with people. And I also, there's another book called Find Your Courage by Margie Worrell, which I think is a great book. Find Your Courage is such an easy book to read, and it has helped so many people as well. So with those two books, and there's so many others that are out there, make sure that you have, when you're building your team, that your people, this is what I say to a brand new person, this is what you want to tell your people as you're building your team. These are the questions you want to ask. These are the books you want them to read. And another key thing is, and I don't know why I don't have a whole lot of time and I have so much to say, but another one is, 30 seconds, is, you know, in terms of helping your people see success and duplicate quickly, that memory jogger list is a gold mine. Memory jogger list, and that's the next thing I have them do. And I say, okay, let me talk about your memory jogger list for a moment. If you were to start a multi-million-dollar company, your very own business, you're CEO, you're owner of this company, who would be the 10 key people that you would want to surround yourself with? Who would be the people who have a positive attitude? This is important, because they're thinking, okay, who am I going to put on paper? You let them, you let them know the type of people you want them to write down. People who have a positive mentality. They have an entrepreneurial spirit, entrepreneurial mentality. They have great credibility. You don't want to sponsor anyone who doesn't have integrity, because they're going to have a hard time. No one will want to listen to them. So people who have a great reputation, great integrity, and the fourth thing is people who know a lot of people who are well connected, people who have a wide circle of influence. And if you're sponsoring people who have a good influence on other people that are liked and they're trusted, my gosh, you're going to build. It's a home run. So I can go on and on, Malcolm. There's so much more to this, and maybe another time, because I know we have other great speakers. But those are some of the key things in terms of duplication and the tools. I can't.
Third-party tools.
The third part. The last thing is the training. The third-party tools, the JMobile, the GoMentum. Teach your people how to use other people's stories, how to use these tools, because you can say very little. I teach people to say, hey, hey, Malcolm, I have something I'd like you to look at. I'm going to send it to you. It's only a 2-minute video. You may know the type of people I'm looking for. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Don't talk about the company or product unless they ask. And again, keep it short, sweet, use the tools. And again, we're going to have to do this again, because I have like notes and notes and notes to go over. But I hope that helps everyone. And again, Malcolm, thank you so much.
Thank you, Malcolm.
We love what you're doing on these calls.
I think it's fantastic. And you're not going to get away that easily, because I'm going to definitely commit you to coming on more calls. And I think it's important just to, as we always to try and go through what people have said as my speakers. There's a lot of fabulous material that you've covered there. And I think everyone on this call should know that the memory jogger, if you look around, is Eric Waugh's memory jogger. It's something that we send out immediately to people. And another thing that I think is important to send out to people is a 45-minute napkin presentation by Don Failla. So if you look on internet, if you look on YouTube, you'll find Don Failla, F-A-I-L-A, 45-minute 45-second napkin presentations. That book, many years ago, completely transformed my life. And I think Judy has covered some fantastic material that we really need to get her to cover on another call. So I'm going to make sure that we have another call where Judy and Ian have 30 minutes rather than the 15 that they've had today. They've done a fabulous job, and I really appreciate them coming online. So what I'd like to do right now is just to say that, you know, the work that she's covered there, we're going to do this again. In fact, as soon as possible. It is crucial that, as Judy and Ian have said, duplication is a key. And what's happened in our organization in GPG and the groups that are amongst GPG is everyone's really exploded very quickly. And the cement that holds us all together, edification is one of them, making sure that we respect the people who are in our upline. Remember, you wouldn't be in this business right now where you are if someone in your upline hadn't come into this business. Never forget that. Whether you like them or you don't like them, the reason you're here is them. Number two, you're not paying them the $30 to sign up with, and you're not buying the kit off them. You're buying it from Jeunesse. They are not your boss. You're a volunteer army, and you can do as you please. But really, you want to follow people who know the way, who go the way. Emeralds like Ian and Judy. Rubies that we've got, like, and very shortly, I'm sure, to become a diamond faster than most people. Dino that we've got online. And lots of other people like Oliver as well. So I'd like to thank you both, Ian and Judy, for joining us from Ontario and Canada. Looking forward to having another call very shortly, and we'll meet up very shortly to discuss what we're going to be doing with the other teams. Time is always a little bit of an enemy at times for us, but I think these calls are priceless. I think the material that we get is so relevant to what we need to be doing as we move towards the busiest period in network marketing, which is September, October, November, and December. This is the time when momentum really is at a crescendo. It's at the peak, if you like. My next guest is absolutely gorgeous. She's wonderful in many different ways, because she wasn't a networker, a professional networker as such with 20, 30 years behind her. She comes from a different background altogether, and she really is causing a stir amongst the teams that we've got in Greece and Cyprus. She's Rolandos' partner, an absolutely fabulous trainer, a great speaker, and she's going to share with you some of her incredible knowledge about social media. She's going to cover branding yourself. We've got the lovely Andriana calling in from Cyprus.
Good evening, Malcolm. Thank you very much. Just a small thing before I start. This book you mentioned of Don Failla's, Rolandos is doing us the last 1.5 months extended training and advanced training on that book, his first line. So it's excellent book. And thanks to Rolando that he introduced this to us. I want to go back in the university. I had this professor that he told me, you will create the most amazing design. You're gonna love it. And then you're gonna present it to your client, and the client will say no to you. He will not like it. So you're gonna go back, make some changes, and then come present again. And then maybe he don't like it. So you're gonna go back and come and present it again until he says yes to you. And then you send this amazing design to the printers, to the magazines, so the customers will see it. Some go and buy, and some will not. Your design is still amazing. So I would like to thank you, Malcolm and Andrea, for being on that call today. Andrea reminds me a lot of things from the university, and that we all should apply to our businesses first. So why we need to expose ourselves? We have to expose ourselves out there to get leads, to get prospects, to get known as. And the mistake we are doing all is that we promote the product. We need to brand. What to brand? There are 3 main categories of branding. There is the corporate branding, the product branding, and the personal branding. Jeunesse is doing the corporate, and product part. We have to do the personal branding. We can have our pages and promote our products, of course. That's what we do. But we need first to expose ourselves and promote ourselves and promote the brand that called you. It's really important because what we say, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And people follow people, not their opportunity. So I have the same opportunity as you do, as Ian and Judy, as everybody. We have the same company, the same products. So why someone choose me as a sponsor and not you? This is the difference and the impact we have to show out there. We are so lucky we have social media in these days because it's more easy to be exposed out there. In the old times, I'll say an example. Let's say a singer, a new singer. The record company will do her part and create the CD, but then has to promote this singer. It's new, no one knows him. So they will book for him interviews. They will advertise him in social media or maybe in magazines, on YouTube. So they will create a name around him. They will say to him how to speak, how to dress, how to react, everything. The same with us. The difference, we have to do it by ourselves. So the way we speak, the way we walk, the way we spread energy out there, it's really important. And the first step to brand ourselves is to go in front of a mirror and look ourselves and ask, would you follow the person you look in the mirror? What you like and what you don't like. So we need to create ourselves professionally out there. Now, we have social media. It's not easy. A lot of people say it's easy. Okay, I will brand myself. I'll upload some pictures, some video. I'll show myself with my office in the beach, on the mountains. I don't know. It's not that easy. You need to create a content. You need to create a lifestyle, and you need to create your own portfolio of pictures and videos. We all go out there and present. We all have meetings with our teams. We all sharing this opportunity. Take picture. Every time you go out there, take pictures with you, your team, when you present, when you go to events, when you are on the plane, on the airports. No matter for what reason you're doing something, take picture. Maybe a picture on the mountain with the family can create a great content for you as a professional on social media. So it's important to create this portfolio around us, these moments, capture the moments. What do we say? A picture is 1,000 words and a video, it's 1,000 pictures. So we need to have all. Then choose the platform you want to use. I personally use a lot of platforms. My two most liked platforms are Facebook and Instagram. So create a page or an Instagram page or a Facebook page. You can have a lot of pages. You don't have limit. So create your professional page as a professional, as a networker, as a speaker, as a trainer, whatever. You choose what you want to promote. Create that pages and fill it with all this energy. And I always want you to remember the word hashtag. It's so important. What is hashtag? Is this little symbol that we all put first before we start writing a word or a phrase. Let's say hashtag network marketing without space. If we do that, automatically is created a virtual folder on the web, and whoever use this hashtag network marketing phrase, everything that has upload goes in that folder. So it's easier by using the correct hashtags to get connected with people out there that are like-minded, that are network marketing, that are trainers, that are in the industry. There are three kinds of people out there, and we all have to remember that. There are those that they don't have a clue about network marketing, those that they have their own impression, and those that they are in the business. So we need to make the right impression about our industry and find and talk to those people. A lot of people will say it's easier to find networker to talk. So I'll do my hashtag in that way, so I will attract networkers. Yes, but it's not easy to have a conversation with a networker, to bring him in. He's a networker. If someone comes to me and say to me, I have a great opportunity for you, I'll say no. I will definitely say no, because I know what I'm doing, I know where I am. I choose jeunesse and I really know what I'm doing. So what we need to create is a relationship. Rolando said a lot of times to create rapport, how to talk, and I want to say something about that. I'm feeling so blessed that I have Rolando as a sponsor, because he taught me everything I know about network marketing. He took my skills from my advertising background, and he showed me the way how to bring all these skills I had into network marketing, and he put his own skills also. So it's amazing. If we all take all these informations and put them together, we can talk to anybody. And as Andrea said, we don't care about no's and yeses. We create relationships. So the power of hashtag in our post is extremely, extremely important. Then create positivity. Only positive posts. I don't want to see any negativity on my wall, on my Facebook account. I don't think anyone wants to see negative posts. I know outside there are a lot of bad news. We have to make the difference. I have my personal account for all that stuff, and I follow this kind of news, and I have my personal account, my business account, and I have only business stuff. So it's really important to show myself out there as a professional. Do 1 or 2 posts every day and make the same post in your Instagram and in your Facebook or business page on Facebook. Because there are different people in one platform and different people in the other platform. Why so extremely? I will say that again. There are millions of people out there. Millions of prospects out there. Some, we like Malcolm's sharpness and the way he talks. Some, we love the energy of Judy. Some, we love the calmness of Rolando's. So they will choose us. We have to show who we are. We are all different, and we all have a lot of things to show out there. So that it was for me today. Thank you very much, Malcolm. I know we are short of time, so in another call maybe we can discuss it more. Thank you.
I think that was absolutely fantastic. May I ask you, you said there were 3 things, and the second one was, so you have one, those who don't have a clue. Who was number 2?
Those who have wrong impression about network marketing.
Who have their own, the
wrong impression. Maybe they did it wrong, or they just adapt someone else's opinion.
Okay, that's very important. You know what gets me is people like yourself are sharing with us priceless information. And I think what you've just shared with us there is so, so important. I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. I'm sure no one on my line is going to mind. And if they do, it's tough. Like you said, I'm sharp. They can leave right now and go and watch someone else's sex life on TV. I believe they watch the repeat performances on Sunday, the omnibus editions, you know, they can go and watch that. So I need to ask you this, a very important question. I think other people will benefit from this. So we have a social media page, like I've got my page, and it's like a garbage can. I put all kinds of stuff on it, you know, because I'm not very good at this. So I'd like to just ask you, because I think it's important. I'm sure Ian and Judy and everyone else would like to know. So you got a page, and if I want to have a Malcolm Peters business page, I know you can have many different pages. Do you make a fan page or a business page that's promoting you?
It's a business page. You are an entrepreneur. So you're going to choose that it's business person, business page. And there are subcategories there that you can choose. It's not a fun page. You will not put things that it's for fun or for laugh.
So that's so important. I got that, because I think, like most people, we have this page. It's a garbage can, you know, rude jokes, good stuff, bad stuff, who's killed who, blah, blah, blah. We're really upset with someone. We put that in there as well. So I think that your information is priceless. And I'd like really everybody to pressurize Rolandos, if we can send you lots and lots of tequila and stuff like that, to get you on a call, because you share some fabulous material, and I really respect your work. You know, I know nothing about social media. I don't know about Judy and Ian, but you know, they've got Erin who knows a lot about. I know nothing. You know, I just know this social media called Facebook, and I'll go on there and I'll post some stuff, and you know, it depends on my mood, and in the past it used to be depending on what I've been drinking. But now that you've clarified that, I think there's so much that you've given us there, like the hashtags. I've never really understood what that meant. So I'd like to invite you, if I can, on another call that I'm sure we'll do, that will really help a lot of people to understand this, because a lot of people are missing out on this powerful thing called social media. We know people in this business, in the Jeunesse, who've signed up 300, 400, 500, 800 people on social media. You know, we're struggling. We need to develop that. Thank you so much for a fabulous contribution, Andrea. I really love your work. My next guest is someone who's recognized by his glasses, apparently. And we know that because Andrea came online and she said, I've seen you before. I remember your glasses. And I've got to tell you that this is a gentleman I really am very fond of. You know, I've got to know him over the last year and a bit. You know, I work very hard on Sunday. People can make a lot of excuses of why they can't come on the call. I have things to do. You know, I've got challenges with health. I've got challenges with my mother's health and stuff. But I make a point on coming on a Sunday call, because where can you get this kind of material completely for free from people who are devoting themselves on a Sunday evening to share information for you? And most of them not even, you know, or those of you watching are not in their teams. There's no financial reward. They're doing this as part of what I call karma, giving out what they can because they know it's going to come back. So I think the contribution so far has been great. But my next guest has always been there, is a staunch supporter of what we do. And I'm always thankful, and I'll say this on a public platform, that I can call him up 2 minutes before we get started. If he's available, so Malcolm, don't worry, I'm there. I'd like to introduce you all to Dan Parks, fabulous gentleman, soon to become a Ruby, who's going to share with you basically becoming an executive factory. Dan, calling you from Tennessee, Jack Daniels country.
You're always so kind, and Malcolm, you've got a great platform here, and it brings great information to a lot of people. And you know, Judy and Ian, I mean, all the speakers today have brought, like you said, that priceless information that, you know, if people watching this will commit to this, you know, everything everyone's talked about today, there's one common theme: consistency. You know, social media requires consistency. Duplication requires consistency. So for me, I was going to talk about creating executives, because when I heard this next phrase, or this concept of this business of how you build your business and get to that diamond rank that we all want to get to, when I heard these three pieces, it was like that aha moment. I call them depends moments, but it was like, oh my gosh, I never thought of it. But so for those of us who have just signed up and we're working to get to Sapphire, your job is to create executives. That's the first skill that you have to master. And there's a lot of things within creating an executive. You've got to learn to prospect. You've got to learn how to coach people. You've got to learn how to work with people. You know, like Judy said, you've got to learn how to ask the right questions. You've got to sort through the people that you're going to build your teams with. I mean, there's a gamut of information that you'll need to learn in this process. And obviously, once you become Sapphire, until you become a higher rank, your next job is to create Sapphires. So until you become a diamond, Your only job through all the ranks like yours, like Judy and Ian, all of them, Carrie Dean, everybody, from sapphire to diamond, your job is to create sapphires. That's it. And when you get to be diamond, you create diamonds. And there's skills along that process that you'll learn. So today I want to talk about creating executives. And there's a lot of things that I've learned. I've made certainly a ton of mistakes along this journey. And a lot of things that I don't think we emphasized enough to our teams and made it enough of an important task and an important event to do. And that is create executives. That's a simple thing. We all went to Sapphire, we created we kind of forget that that's a skill. That's what we need to inspire and do and teach our team. So that being said, Judy had priceless questions to ask your people. I mean, when you get started, I think that some of us forget. I remember my sponsor's message about when she got, I know Judy and Carrie were both in the same company, but when Carrie signed into that pink Cadillac company, her sponsor gave her kit and said, well, here you go, good luck. And how many people have we sponsored that in a lot of ways, if you step back and think about it, we did the same thing. I've done that with some of my people. I assumed they would really take off and go on. I assumed they would use our program Momentum, which is awesome. I assumed so many things. And then you look back in a few weeks, you're like, they're not doing anything. And then in our minds, we start saying, well, they're not ready yet. There's all these things we go through. So that being said is creating executives requires you as a sponsor and your new person you've signed up is a partnership. And together you will get to executive. That's a key feature to understand here. So as Judy said, the first thing you're going to do is sit down with your newly sponsored person that signed up, and you're going to ask them those questions. You need to understand what their goals are, what they want to do, how much time they have, how committed are they. That way you understand how much of your time to commit to them. The next thing that you want to do is understand how much time they can have so that you can sit down and you start. Fam Bam is a thing I learned from a previous company. Judy might remember this person, but Fam Bam. Bam Fam. Book an appointment from an appointment. So when you meet with your new person, you're going to go through, you're going to get the questions, you're going to get ready and say, okay, what day can we get together? And it can be right now. Obviously, you want a sense of urgency. The faster that you, and I learned this from Meredith Burker, the faster that your new person can get some money in their pocket, whether it's just $25 from their first, it's the magnitude of longevity that they'll stay in your business is staggering. So the key is get this person to make money as fast as possible. Ideally, 48 hours would be awesome if you can get them to executive. And by asking the right questions, you're going to know if this is a person that you can really do that with. So help them make their list. You said it great. The memory jogger. There's a lot of them out there. Get the memory jogger. Get them to make a list. Think of the people. And for me, when I do this, I kind of generate two lists. One list that's going to be the easy people. In other words, when I say easy people, the people that aren't going to take 3 weeks to go through all the information and make the decision and figure all this out. These are the people that you can call up and say, hey, I'm in something that's unreal, or, oh my God, I found the most amazing skincare product. You want some? Boom, they're going to say, yeah, get it for me. And $300 is nothing for them. Get them in that basic thing and get them done. That's the most important. I can't stress that enough. Next, you're going to have your strategic partners, like Judy said, the ones that are really entrepreneurs. Those are the people you want to reach out to as well. So you and your new person, so the sponsor and your new person, you're going to go through this list. You're going to help them understand who's who. You're going to figure out why this person's on their list, and you can sort that through and break it up in those two lists. And actually, in your back office, there's a thing that's getting started that will help you understand that. Next, you're going to make calls. And before you make calls, sit down with your new person and explain to them the right way to make a call. You don't just call them up and start into presentation stuff. So you need to set an expectation with doing your calls. I absolutely love, and I've started using this, I love Oliver's indirect approach. And what I've started doing when I'm calling people now is I call them up and say, hey, I've got involved in this new business. I'm super stoked about this. And I know you know a lot of people that are really sharp. So who do you know that wants to get involved with this with me and make some real money? And stop. And again, the magic word, the next person that speaks loses. So wait until they come back and say, well, and most people, and again, you have to work with your person. Most people are going to come back and say, well, what's this about? And you say, I don't have time right now to tell you, but if you'll just give me a few names, I promise I won't over push the limits of, you know, asking them too much or push them or convince them. I'm just looking for some people that I can set up some meetings and show them what I got. You want to avoid with these people doing any kind of information. All you're doing is trying to get some names and book some appointments. If your friend that you're calling is persistent, says, well, no, I'd like to know about it. Say, great, I'm really busy right now. What's a time we can get together and sit down and talk about this? I need about 30 minutes. So your only task as that new person sign up is to call and make appointments. Have your sponsor either with you or on standby so you can get off the calls, you can critique, you can figure out what you can do different. You know, you're not going to make one call and it's not going to be a home run. Just like our first speaker, Andrea, said, you're going to have failures. But that's right. If your sponsor's with you and helps coach you through how you can do the next call better, then guess what? You're learning fast. So set your appointments. The next thing is you're going to meet with these people, whether it's on Skype, on, you know, Facebook Live, or in person. I like in person, but, you know, if they're remote, that's fine. Use Skype. Bring your sponsor along. Your only job when this happens is to edify your sponsor and play stupid. And I know that's easy to say, but I'm telling you, that's what you do. Play stupid. Say, I don't know anything about this. My sponsor, Malcolm, is like this amazing guy. He's made a lot of money. He's really sharp. He knows the business. I know he's going to teach me everything I know to do the same thing. So he can tell you all about it. All I know is I'm stoked. I'm excited. I'm in. I'm running. And I'm looking for some people to go with me. That level of excitement is going to get your people wanting to talk to Malcolm. And then you just hand the call off to Malcolm and let Malcolm be the expert and say what he needs to say. So once you've gone through that process, Malcolm's going to be the person that's going to know how to close them. You do not close them. You let your sponsor close that person. And that's really simple. Most of us are terrified to do this, but ask for the order. You know, it's that golden rule. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 not even interested, 10 ready to sign up, where do you see yourself in that scale? And when they come back with a number, then you say, what other information do I need to tell you or give you to get you to a 10? Sometimes you need to set another appointment to come back, and that's okay. You don't close everyone on the first call. Sometimes there's several calls, but that's okay. Your sponsor is going to work with you and help you understand this. This is not a one-man show. I can't emphasize that enough. This is a team event, period. So the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to close them. Now, what I do, because I know we're short on time, I'm passionate about everything I say and do, but here's what I do. And I learned this. I went on a cruise with the previous company I did. And when I learned how to do this, I signed up 6 people on that cruise. It was the most amazing opportunity to learn how to do this. And it works like a champ, I'm telling you. First of all, Judy and Ian taught me in a coaching call about keeping your pipeline full. You should always have 20 people in your pipeline at some stage or another. Always. Okay? So here's the great way to get some of those people out of your pipeline. You sign someone up on paper. Get out of your back office in the distributor kit. Get the paper application. Put them on paper. Don't go right to your computer, let them see your back office and sign them up. That's not what you do. Get them on paper and say, you should get an email in the next 24 to 48 hours from the company with all your information. Then you have 24 to 48 hours to call every person in your pipeline and say, hey, I got this really sharp guy that's going to do really well. And I'll tell you what, if you want to pull the trigger and get involved now, I'll put this person under you. And they go, oh, great. So you pull out your application, get their name. And guess what? Now I got 2 people really sharp. You know what, Malcolm? I've got 2 people really sharp. I'll put them under you. They're going to blow it up. Now you have 3. You can do this for 24 to 48 hours and build a big team really fast. That's one of those secret nuggets. When I learned that, it was like another aha moment. I call it leveraging the form to get others. So with that, Malcolm, I know we're short on time, but I'll stop. But I mean, I'm telling you, I cannot tell you enough. It's a team event. Build executives, leverage your signups, and get rocking.
Dan, fantastic as always. I'm going to spend a couple of moments. Like I said, you know, if they got a dropper, they got a dropper. On the form itself, do you take credit card details? Because in Europe, people are extremely loath to give you that information. So in America, do you take their credit card details? How do you do that, please?
I do that. And because this form, I don't know if you can really see it really well, it's branded with Jeunesse.
Right.
And, you know, there's a lot of people that say, oh, it's an official form.
Right.
And they're not if you got a piece of paper out and you're scribbling their stuff on, I'd be terrified too. But you know, there's an impression with this. And you know what? Here's another thing. If they're afraid to give you your credit card information, tell them when this gets processed, I'll call you to get your information to put in. You know, there's ways. Again, you got to be creative.
I like that.
Don't let the brick wall stop you. Figure out how to dig under it, around it, over it, go through it. I don't care. Just make it happen.
Fantastic. Guys, what a call today. And, you know, I've written about, I think, 18, 20 pages of notes. That's about how many notes I've written over there. And I just think this was an absolutely phenomenal classic call. We've taken so much out of it, right? Going backwards if we can, rewind. We've got Dan who's talked about, you know, teamwork, and it's not a single effort. It's a team effort. Fantastic. He's talked about the pipeline. That pipeline can be full of your personal prospects, but I believe if you're building the Don Failo way, which is how I build my business, that pipeline can be full of your prospects and your frontlines people as well. You all forget that. I want to go out. I sponsor Andriani. Any of her people, I consider them to be mine. They are in my pipeline. And maybe I've got better skill sets than she has to be talking to those people. I don't want someone just talking to people and blowing them away. It's all in the show. That's what we keep telling people. And really, I want to finish my call with this. You've heard from Andrea from the beginning, go for no. You're going to get no's, but they're not saying no to you. They're saying not now. I love that, what she said. Not right now. It's not for me. And if they did say no to you, it's just as well, because you don't want to know people like that. Your role is to guide people through an information gathering process without pressure or obligation. They will make the decision which pack they buy. I love what Andrea said. She said, you know, our mentality is the spending mentality of what I think is a lot of money. That's your opinion. You're not God. You can't decide, oh, I'm taking Ian and Judy through. I can't show them the ambassador pack or the founders pack. You might be doing them a huge disservice, because they might go out there and really blast the business away, you know, apart in a few months, and you've just cut them out of all the sapphire bonuses they could get with the pack. You've done them a disservice, and they'll loathe you for it afterwards. Andrea's book, I think, is fantastic. What about the fantastic work that we've had from Andriani? I learned, and I'm so sick because I was going to go to Cyprus and I couldn't go for many, many reasons, but I want to go and I'd sit down and take a lot of notes, because this lady knows what she's talking about. I've learned something new. I learned something new on all of these calls. Build a business page. I never even thought about that. Brand yourself. Keep your social media, your garbage page, Malcolm's garbage page, separate from who Malcolm actually is, his brand. I think that is so fantastic. I owe you a big ouzo or whatever. I'm sure we'll have a mixture by the time I meet you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of our call today. It's an epic call, an hour and a half call it's going to be. And I hope that we can share this material with everybody. And I hope it shows you the quality of our calls. So I'm going to say goodbye to our guests first of all. We started with our Emerald directors, Ian and Judy, calling in from Ontario, Canada. Fabulous contribution. So many notes I've taken. I really appreciate it. And they're not going to get away, because I'm going to nail them. You know, whatever's happened, stub toe or not, or there's a dead doe on their doorstep, I'm still going to make sure that they come on the call and spend at least 35, 40 minutes on a call. That's going to be quite important. We've got the wonderful Andriani. I think that your work is priceless. I'm glad that you come and share with Rolandos on these calls. You know, people always say, well, you know, why do you want people on the calls? But this information, if we can set a few people on fire, it's good for all of us. The more emeralds we have around us, the better the storytelling is for us. So I love your contribution. Thank you. And of course, we got Dan, wonderful Dan. And I love his laid back way of doing things. And I've formed a great relationship with him. And I certainly hope that I can go down to Tennessee to Jack Daniels land. My goodness, little dreamboat there. I shouldn't share that, but I love Jack Daniels. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday call. My name is Malcolm Peters. It's been my absolute pleasure hosting this call, and I'm looking forward to next week's call. We're going to have more guests. Invite everyone that you know to these calls. So it's goodbye from all of my guests and goodbye from myself. Malcolm Peters calling in from London on the GPG call for Sunday. Thank you all. Have a fantastic week. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Malcolm.